There must be a way to splice videos together, but I don't know what it is at the moment. I don't have a problem with the idea that paedophiles are essentially not human, which was, I think, where David Icke was coming from. That reptilian bloodlines sucked energy from children by traumatizing them, getting their energy levels to an optimum amount, and kind of taking it from them. That seems quite as good an explanation as any, since there is rather clearly no reproductive advantage to raping children. And admittedly, I still don't completely understand male sexuality, but personally I would think it was preferable to go and masturbate rather than rape a child. That then makes some kind of sense to me. But of course, you can't have children without women. And you can't let women in on what you're doing. None of us would have reproduced. I wouldn't, if I had known that the agenda was to have my children taken off me and used by paedophiles. And I am now breaking the current rules that I have agreed on with members of my family. I've kind of hinted at it before. Women would not have children if they knew the agenda was to take their children away and have those children handed over to paedophiles. So, first of all, education of women is most definitely not desirable. You don't want a woman to be able to think. The guy I keep quoting from, Ragnar Redbeard, the author of Right is Right, did not want women educated. My father did not want me educated. And when I think about the timing that he took my younger daughter from me, just before I took my A-levels, one of my A-levels was in government and politics. In other words, for the first time in my life, I was beginning to understand what it was all about. Two birds with one stone. In fact, in my father's case, it was often 3 or 4 or 5 with one stone. So, I have said on previous videos that the social services, whether or not they know, whether or not they're simply brainwashed, are taking children away from perfectly good families and handing them over to perfectly bad families. And they have taken over where the Catholic Church left off in that respect. And not just the Catholic Church. The Protestant Church was just as guilty. The Church of England did it as well. This I know for a fact. The agenda is becoming clearer and clearer, isn't it? Certainly for me, everything in my life that I could not get my head around. And I'm going to go for it again. I think I've hinted rather than said that. I did say that Fiona's children were worth money, and that it was because she had come off drugs and could fight for them and fend for them, because she had come off drugs and could get her children back, that she was murdered. Those children were worth money. They went to a family who just happened to have, well, A, loads and loads of money. B, ready-made family of boy and girl, the ideal, isn't it, in our country? And the boy had the same name as the adoptive father, i.e. the same forename. Perfect. I wonder how much that sale was worth. And now that I've started on that, turns out that the adoptive mother has Facebook friends with the surname Cornelius, which I may have mentioned and which is rare. It's not a common surname, but it's quite common on the Isle of Wight, where a woman whose surname was Cornelius was the death informant for the composite Desmond Oakley. One thing David Icke has not covered, or at least if he has, I haven't seen the videos yet, is this business of cloning people. When I say cloning, I don't mean in the literal sense of you have two absolutely identical people from one. It's more a matter, as I've said, of their sharing names and swapping or sharing identities. Apparently voluntarily. Don't know about that one, of course. Okay, let's come back to programming then. Programmed assassins in particular, I'm thinking now. Bilderberg.org did have it right, that Robin is a code name for an assassin. And I did not go to Bilderberg.org, look it up and think, oh, look at all these men called Robin who were at all these inquests. It was the other way around. I looked at all the men called Robin at all the inquests and thought this has to be a code. It has to be a satanic code. Googled satanic code, up came Bilderberg.org, up came item 610, and told me that yes, what they call SAM, Satanist Masonic, Satanic Masonic, have bird codes, the eagle, the owl, and the robin. Which gives me more than one pause for thought, but of course I'm fixated on the robin because there it was. The minute I googled satanic code, up came the robin, specifically as an assassin. And yes, I do believe they were programmed assassins with the little optional extra thrown in that they can be swapped around without anyone knowing which Robin Stoddart is which. And presumably the assassin they want to keep alive survives, while the others get bumped off. Which is what I can see has happened from where I'm sitting. Exactly what has happened. Again, having watched these videos, of course I'm mixing up my little microcosm with the macrocosm. But suddenly it's all coming together for me and making some sense. Oh, and am I going... No, I'm not going over a tangent, because I'm still thinking of paedophiles and what they've done in the name of protecting their investment in paedophilia. Such as, for example, the Dunblane massacre. I don't believe that in crisis actors, except to be there for the TV cameras and so on, and to reenact what has already occurred. I don't see the necessity for crisis actors when we are talking about people who have absolutely no compunction whatsoever in killing dozens of children at a time. Sandy Hook, Dunblane, they were real kids who died. I don't doubt that at all. And real bereaved families. But what was being... Well, I don't know if those were the same agenda or two different ones. In the case of Dunblane, I do believe that what was being covered up was paedophilia, and that Thomas Hamilton was a programmed assassin. No more, no less. and possibly didn't work alone either. In the case of Sandy Hook, what has been the outcome? The cry to disarm America's citizens, which I used to think a thoroughly good idea, given the number of murders committed by people with guns in America annually. I thought that was a blooming good idea, to take their guns off them. I am now beginning to think that perhaps not. That perhaps Sandy Hook was staged inasmuch as it would cause an outcry and say we must limit who can have guns. That probably is a good idea, to limit who can have guns. But at this point in time, I think disarming populations is an incredibly bad idea, and the point being made that the Nazis did that just before the Holocaust is a very good point, which sort of kind of brings me full circle to a video I think I'm just uploading about martial law and police states. The citizens will not be able to defend themselves against all of this that I, in my small way, am talking about.